Hey, new tutorial. Okay, welcome. So in this video we are making this, whatever this is. You know, I guess it's like it's cool looking, but I still don't know what this is. I guess a spaceship could land this way. You know, whatever. So it's really cool, really easy, and as you can see, there are lots of smoke happening and fire also, right? And it's a pretty big scaled smoke, so there it is. Okay, so let's start. So here's the finished scene, and you can see, let me just, so this is the simulation that we are going to do. It's really cool, really, really realistic and fun. It's fun making things like this, right? So, and you can render out the entire animation. I didn't do that because it's a really heavy scene in terms of rendering. This picture alone took 1 hour to render. Also, there it is that my system is a laptop, and so there's downgrade for that, I think. So okay, so let's start fresh, right? I'm gonna create new. I'm saving this. Okay, so go ahead, delete this. Of course we don't need this, and delete this light and camera also. Okay, so what we need first is our asteroid, obviously. So we're gonna make an UV sphere, and I'm gonna increase its, oh sorry, let me just delete it. More segments and more rings. We have a fairly good topology here, and I'm also gonna add a subdivision surface to it and a displacement modifier. We want our asteroid to be bumpy and asteroid like. We don't want it to be sphere like this, something like this. So now we're gonna make an empty, and like the last tutorial, we're gonna want to make this empty, control the texture space of this clouds texture. So okay, so in this one we made a displacement modifier, and we created a texture and we gave it a clouds texture, right? So now we want this to control the clouds texture space, and for the way we're gonna do that is going to the modifiers tab and select the texture coordinates from local to object and select the empty. Okay, so if I move this empty, you can see it moves the texture on this, and similarly if I move this, you can see it's like some jelly type thingy, as something as you see in Spider-Man. Sorry, Venom. Yes, Venom. Yeah, I recently saw that. It's a good movie. So there we go, and we're gonna scale. Okay, so our asteroid should be way bigger, right? Because right now it's 2.5 meters across wide and in every dimension. So we're gonna scale it up to about there, I think. Okay, so now that we have made this, I'm going to make a circle, and I'm going to make its radius 5 meters. Okay, 5 meters, because I want this this meteor shower, asteroid shower, whatever it is, to be at least across the dimensions of a house, or maybe something big. So it's 10 meters across on its diameter, so that's good. So I'm gonna just move it right here. Oh, and I'm gonna turn on my screencast keys this time, so you can see what I'm doing here, right? Okay, so I'm gonna scale it down just a bit, and I guess a meteor is not this much spiky, so I'm gonna scale it up, and as I scale it up, it also scales up the texture, right? Really cool. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna create a new collection and name this rocks, and I'm gonna move our asteroid to rocks, and I'm gonna select rocks. So now we're gonna shift duplicate our rock and place it roughly on the circle of this, and make it bigger or smaller, make it randomly different. And you can see that when I duplicate one object, it doesn't duplicate the same texture, it moves in the same texture space, so it has a different effect on it. So that's the way we go, right? Some big ones, some small ones, some really big ones, some medium ones. Okay, so this is the thing that's going to be coming from up here to down here. So the reason we made the circle is so that we don't have to select all of these and move them all at once. We can just parent them all to our circle. So just select them all and at last select the circle. Alright, this is very important that you select the circle at last, so that it knows who is going to be the parent, which is the circle, and parent it to the object. And now you can see that if I move the circle, it moves all of the asteroids, and if I rotate it, it does that as well, whilst it doesn't obviously it doesn't take makes the texture same, I guess, okay, so whatever. Now we're gonna simulate. So the way I want this to be is I want it to go up on the z-axis by 50 meters, I guess. I guess 60 meters, right? So it's going to be coming from up there and it's going to go down there. So I'm gonna scale it up just a bit, and I'm gonna set I and choose lock rod scale for all of the rotation, location, and scale. That's a keyframe, and I'm gonna go to the end of our animation, and I'm gonna hit Alt G to make it come down to the center, and I'm gonna scale it down just a bit, and I'm gonna set the keyframe again. Now you can see that we have animated our scene. Okay, now it's supposed to come down like that, but I think it might be cooler if it rotates in the air just a bit, like it comes down whilst doing this. So I'm gonna go to the last keyframe, and I'm gonna just set its rotation to be 720 degrees, and I'm gonna replace keyframe. 720 is because I wanted to have two whole rotations. Okay, so it looks like a bit like this, like cool. I will also scale up the texture space. It's too spiky for me right now, but it's okay. Okay, one other thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the filters, and I'm gonna hit selectable objects, and I'm gonna disable their selectivity for the asteroids. I don't want to select them. Now what will happen is if I select anywhere around here, it will only select the circle, which is really inconvenient. So that's good. Alright, now that we have done this, it's time to start our simulation. For particles, no, we are not to the smoke simulation yet. So I also want some particles to go around in a whirlpool kind of state. So for that I'm gonna add a new particle to the circle. Alright, and I'm gonna set its source from faces to words. Now what will happen? They will fall, right? Okay, we don't want them to fall because they don't fall. So what we're gonna do is we're going to field weights and it will turn their gravity down. Now they will just stay there, but they will at least form a cool tornado or whirlpool or whatever this is. So I'm gonna set the lifetime to our end of the simulation, which will be 250. So they will stay in the air and won't disappear. Oh, that's a rhyme. Now I want there to be not 1300, I guess, because each of these particles will be emitting fire. So we won't want too many fire around that. Now what we will do is we will alright, now it's time for smoke simulations. No, not yet. Now we have to add some turbulence and force fields for the particles. So add a turbulence and where it is? Oh, we don't want it here. I'm gonna make another collection and name it physics, and I'm gonna move that turbulence inside the physics. Now I'm gonna make it at a strength of 1.4 and a size of 2.8. You can play around it, you are completely free to play around with it, but I think that's good in my case. And I'm also gonna add a vortex. I'm gonna scale it up so you can see it. So its strength will be way down, 0.150, and its noise amount will be 1. Oh, sorry. Yes. So now if you see, come on particles, yes, so they are rotating just a bit, just a tiny bit, as you can see, and it's looking good. Imagine them spitting fire. Okay, you'll get what I want. Right, now it's ready and we are finally going for smoke simulations. Now I'm gonna hide this physics one. I'm gonna move it way across there, and I'm gonna add a cube, and I'm gonna go into edit mode, and I'm gonna press GZ, and I'm gonna move it 0.9 on the z-axis. The way I didn't do 1 is because we want some of its part, we also want some of its part down in the below the origin, so that's why I did that. So I think it will be this wide, and I'm gonna scale it to the z-axis. Now I'm gonna apply its scale. This is very important. This is so Blender understands how much of a simulation you're doing, or else you'll be spitting candles, right? Now I'm gonna add the fluid simulation. of onwards Blender 2.82, it's going to be under fluid simulation, because Blender has entirely changed the smoke simulator. It was Before it was Blender's own smoke simulation. Now it's called Mantaflow, which is way better, in my opinion, everyone's opinion in that case. So we're gonna set its type to domain, because this will be the area in which our smoke simulation is calculated. Now we are going to select these, which can be selected obviously. So I'm gonna turn the selectivity back on. Alright, so press one rock, set it to fluid, the type to flow, and we want them to emit fire also, as well as smoke, and we want them to generate smoke. We don't want them to be smoke, or otherwise if you set it to geometry, what will happen is it will imagine the entire rock as a smoke, and then it will be just like a puff, or so we don't want that. Alright, set it to each and every one of these. Flow, smoke, fire plus smoke, geometry, inflow. So guys, coronavirus, right? Son of a bitch. We can't get out of our house. I'm scared as hell. I live in a small town, so it can easily spread to me as well. It hasn't, I think, till now, but I'm really scared, guys. Don't get out. Don't get out of the house unless it's really necessary. Majority cases are being cured, but I don't want to be any case. Oh, we forgot that. Did we forget that everywhere else? Oh, all this talking makes me forget things. Oh, something that's different. Yes. Here. Fluid, domain. No, not domain. Flow. I'm sorry. Texture. I'm just trying to keep it as fast as possible, but guys, if you're watching this video, please consider subscribing. It would really help me a lot. I will have if you like the stuff I make on this channel. I try to make anything that's I try to make anything that's cool. So anyway, did I leave something? No, I didn't. Okay, good. And now we are ready to make this. Yeah, let's make the smoke happen, baby. Okay, so in the domains physics tab, you will see a lot of settings. We are not going to use a lot of settings. We are going to leave everything, literally everything, at default. So resolution should be at 32. For my case, I'm using a laptop. If you have a kick-ass PC, you can go higher, I guess, but on the testing stage it's fine. Adaptive domain, obviously, 250 to the end. And okay, one feature that I found that Mantaflow has and previous simulator didn't is that you can add noise and stuff after you have baked the original base simulation, I guess. So that has a great advantage, because before you could not do that. I'm gonna just hit bake. So before you could not do that, and the problem it made was, if you have a, in my case obviously I have a laptop, so I can't do that. You can put pressure on it, guys. You can increase your divisions and add a noise on top of that, so it's easier, I guess. So I'm gonna pause this and I'm gonna come back when it's done. Alright, so it's done and we are looking at something good. So here comes the fire, lot of fire, but don't worry, because it will go away as soon as you increase the subdivisions, right? So here it is, and it looks good. I think when I increase these subdivisions it will look good. Alright, now for the particles. We haven't done for the particles anything right now, so go to this circle, select the circle and add a fluid simulation to it as well. Now select flow, select fire plus smoke, select inflow obviously. Now in the flow source select particle system, okay, and select the particle system that we created. Alright, you're done. That was it. Now if you bake it again you will see some particles happening around. Okay, so now we want to change one setting, that is, if we go to the if you go to the flow settings, we want to reduce the surface emission. This is basically the distance between the smoke or fire and the mesh. So you don't want to keep it very high, or else it will look fake, because fire doesn't appear on a distance of the surface, it appears on the surface, right? So I'm gonna reduce it to 0.8, and you can see the distance is far too large right now, but that's because of the less subdivisions, so that will be fixed. Now for each and every one of them you can do that, and you will be good. And here and there we go. This quarantine has given me a lot of time to think about things, guys, and I know it has done the same for everybody else as well. So I'm working on multiple things right now, like I'm working on my comic, I'm working on this to give you guys some cool things to make, and I'm working on my own job right now. I'm obviously working from home, so that's good. Now we bake it again, but with a little bit higher subdivisions, and free it, yes, 64 I think, and after that we're going to be adding noise on top of that as well. So I'm gonna hit bake and I'm gonna come back when it's finished. Okay, so this is done, and as you can see, the effect that particles had on this was, you can see now these little bits of fire here and there on the entire length of this smoke simulation. So that was something that was essential to make it realistic and cool looking. So now what we're gonna do is add noise for that, and look, it disappeared. That will happen once you bake the noise, it will reappear with the noise on top of it, and if you uncheck this it will come back, but we'll bake the noise and I'll see you in a bit. Alright, looking good, guys. See how cool is that? A little bit of fire emerging out of the smoke. Yeah, that's really cool, right? So we're pretty much done. Oh, thank you. we're pretty much done. Let's see what it looks like rendered, and we will not see anything because first we're in cycles, and second there is no material on this domain, so we gotta do that. So go ahead and open a separate window, go to shader editor, add a new material, and delete this principal PSDF and add a principal volume instead. Now, important thing that you want to connect it to the volume, and now you can see, but we don't have our fire. So the way you do that is just increase this black body intensity and you will have your fire. Whoa, see what I told you? It's a heavy scene in the terms of rendering. Now what I see we can do is we can increase this density because it's a really big smoke, so it's dense as well, until you just see a little bit of this. So I'm gonna set it to 8. Right, cool. Nice. If you just go down and see what's happening, you can also increase the black body intensity further than 1. Let's do 3. Good guys. See, looks really cool. You can add a sun lamp to view it properly. Okay, now you see it's pretty detailed, you know, considering that we are only rendering it from a laptop. It's pretty detailed and it's pretty good, and not to mention it whirls around when coming down. So it's pretty good for a still, it's pretty good for an animation, it's good for anything, guys. It's good for VFX, you know. I think it could be used in a movie or something where a ship lands, a circular ship, I think, could land this way, because it would create you know, the atmosphere would create fire on it. So that's that, and just go ahead and place the camera right around somewhere you like, and I did it at 64 subdivisions. You can do the final image was done at 100 subdivisions. You can go further than that. I didn't because I had only one day to do this. The you see, this is red and this is not red, this is orange. You can well, I did it in the post processing. I just increased the saturation, right? So here we go. So you can also add some clouds around this, right? I just did a cheat and I just rendered it from where you couldn't see this ending of this. So there's that. That's it, guys. It's just everything else is just you know, finishing touches, but that is it. So place your camera after adding the camera, and I'm gonna just, you know, I'm trying to take it from a man's perspective, how you would see it if it actually came down on you, which I hope it doesn't. So there we go. I'm gonna reduce this to a bit. No, not that much. Right, that much. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe. It will really really appreciate it. It will motivate me. And there we go, guys. So that's how you do it. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay inside, and bye bye.